I have the honour of welcoming you on behalf of our Aussie family to this very, very special celebration. Jodie, Nate, Matilda, Sharon, Anthony, Jack and Arlo and I are all very excited to welcome Matthew, aka Uncle Chew, to the fold, and are thrilled to see Hayley so happy. It's lovely. You're all here today because you are either family or part of their very special family of friends. Family is pivotal to who they are. I was struck by the strength of family when I visited Ireland earlier this year and was embraced by Matthew's extended family. Greeted with the phrase, "You are welcome in our home," said with such sincerity, formality and...
It's alright everybody, we're on battery, we can keep running tonight!
That's never happened before. Anyway, I realised very quickly that all the grandas, grannies, uncles, aunties, cousins and very special family friends were responsible for shaping the values in Matthew which Hayley aspires to take into her own family, and not to mention the love of a good party. Thank you to all the Irish contingent for travelling so far to join us in this formal recognition of their union. It's been going on a while. Although perhaps in some cases it's to make sure that Matthew remains an export to the colonies. The consequences of those free trade agreements. Thanks especially to Colin, Jill, Laura and Alice. Wherever Laura and Alice are, up down there, yep. For understanding Matthew's decision to marry someone on the other side of the planet. It's a tough one. And I imagine the consequences when all those early immigrants from Ireland set off without the benefit of Skype and Messenger. My forebears were among them actually. Scottish, Irish, English. Now all we need to do is for Matthew to focus on more than one thing at a time and remember to call you occasionally. Yes. I have also been struck by the strength of bonds in Hayley's family as we've worked through some really tough issues lately and arrived strengthened and closer than ever. Watching how the addition of the children has drawn the girls closer and united us in a common purpose to nurture these new little darlings and try and make sure that their experience of childhood is carefree and filled with love. The gang of three little hippie kids, and they really were wild, is stronger than ever, but it has a softer, more tolerant element these days. My extended family has also been important, especially Auntie Mary and Uncle Untum, who hosted many fondly remembered visits from our little family. And also our much-loved Granny, who would have loved to have been here tonight, but she's quite elderly and in a nursing home. And she would have danced the night away with you, because she was a real jitterbugger back in the day. You couldn't stop her dancing. Wonder where Hayley gets that from. And then there is the family of friends, who has also shaped so much of the talented, mature and caring woman Hayley is today. I have known some of you from school years. Shared my house with a couple of you, opened my home for your early parties. Didn't 161 really rock? Been around as every phase of Hayley's working life has added a new cast of members, and enjoyed hearing about you all through the many phone calls that Hayley and I have shared over the years. You have all contributed so much, some of which I would probably have been better off being oblivious to, but those phone calls flow pretty freely and unedited. However, there was a particular call 5.5 years ago that sticks in my mind. On this occasion, I was introduced to Matthew. It was a long call from a very upbeat Hayley, telling me in the first sentence that she had met the man of her dreams, that he was marvellous and beyond doubt the most amazing person on the planet. Perfect in every way, and handsome too. Now, I'm used to Hayley's enthusiasm for life, sense of positivity, willingness to give everything a crack and to take a risk. But really? After all, she'd only met the Irish ranger a few days before in a Melbourne pub. Both were probably well inebriated at the time. He lived on the other side of the country and was on a temporary working visa and did FIFO work in the Pilbara. Not likely to last, I thought. But the phone calls kept coming. His Perth home was totally ignored and he FIFO'd to Melbourne until he had eventually changed jobs to the East Coast and FIFO'd from Brisbane. Hayley's life began to revolve around the time they could spend together, and we'd none of us dare interrupt that time. And we began to realise the Irishman was going to be a permanent fixture. We welcomed him into our family, and I understood why Hayley had settled on this man with his sense of fun, strong values, and love of my daughter. Although the perfect thing was a real stretch. One of the most important things that Hayley says of Matthew is that I feel really loved every day, no matter what is happening, and we laugh every day together. So that brings us to today. Matthew never really had a chance from day one. Hayley's mind was made up. I think she told all of you on many phone calls. He may have taken a while to get around to the formalities, agonising Matthew, but the inevitable was mutual. I asked him the other day if he had cold feet yet. After all, Hayley can be a pretty high-powered gig. He looked at me blankly and said, "Well, it never really occurred to me that I should have." I hope it doesn't ever, but anyway. The great thing is that they are both on the same page, although the way they write it is very different. I believe their life together will be rich in the important things, and that they balance each other and will be a formidable, fun team. I reckon we're going to have a lot of fun times in the future. Thank you all for coming from near and far to see Hayley and Matthew off on this new chapter as they form new branches of the Charters family. It's been a huge pleasure to spend time as an extended family with all of the other Charters this week at the Sunshine Coast and to celebrate with you today. That's all I've got to say, but my mum, who's really elderly, if I haven't lost the piece of paper, here it is, and my sister, who couldn't come because it's harvest, sent these messages. Dear Hayley and Matthew, we are thinking of you on your special day today. We would love to be with you, but unfortunately harvest season has crept up on us and kept us home. Wishing you all the best for a wonderful life together with much love from Auntie Mike and Uncle Greg. And from Mum, dear Hayley and Matthew, thank you for your invitation to your wedding today, and what a wonderful day it will be, and it is. Wishing you a long and happy life together with lots of love from Granny Lamrock. So that's all I've got to say. So let's propose a toast to the bride and groom, I guess, and everybody else, and yeah, bottoms up. Cheers, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that beautiful speech.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Fantastic. Let's head up to the other side of the family tree and the other side of the world. May I introduce to you Grandfather Colin, father of the groom.
Matthew and Haley, family and friends, we are delighted to be here today to help celebrate this joyous occasion with you all. We've been very fortunate in that we've arrived, and all the hard work, preparations for today has been done by other people. And I would like to thank all those people who have helped Haley and Matthew in the weeks and months prior to today. Now, Ireland is quite a few miles away from here. But in the early days, we used to think a lot about Matthew on the other side of the world. But when he met Haley, Jenny and family, it gave us great peace of mind and reassurance. Now, it was always probably in Matthew's DNA to live in Australia. In 1988, Jill and I first came out on holiday to stay with my brother Des, and at that stage Matthew was on the way. So we come back in 2010 again to stay with Des and Beth in the Lochar Valley, and it was during that holiday that Des organised a trip to Fraser Island for us camping and fishing, and I think that really sealed the deal. Matthew enjoyed the outdoor life, the great weather, the great food, and he knew at that stage the employment opportunities were much better in Australia. Now, back at home, I used to take Matthew fishing, and on hindsight, I probably went a bit of the wrong way, in that I used to take him out for long days, not very productive stuff from them, but it would usually take the form. Matthew would fish for 1 hour, out comes the packed lunch. He would eat it and eat it all, and then the next thing he'd curl up and he'd be sleeping in the bottom of the boat. So that's the way it was. Also, as a young boy, he was very interested in the way things worked, and he loved to take things apart and build them back together again. One of the best toys he ever had, if you could call it that, there was an old broken down washing machine out in the garage, and he spent weeks taking that thing apart and building it back together again. Many times there were parts left over, but that didn't matter. But he used to come back over to the house and he would tell us he was a mechanicer in his own ways. Now, apparently things haven't changed that much during the renovations in Melbourne. Matthew has taken many things apart. I know you've been very patient, Haley, but I can tell you he will put them back together again, but I don't know when, you know. So that brings us on to Haley, our new daughter-in-law, and I'm sure you'll all agree how beautiful she looks today in this fantastic wedding dress. As I said, Haley's patient, kind, considerate, and might I say a dab hand of spreadsheets. Now, on Matthew's first visit home, he told us about meeting this fantastic and beautiful girl in Melbourne, and indeed during that holiday he spent most of it on the phone to her. But the following year he came home again, and on that occasion he had Haley with him, and it's obvious they were very much in love and made for each other. Now, their personalities may be slightly different. Haley's intelligent, focused, engaging, driven, all great traits. But Matthew, you have good traits too. But you're probably operating in a slightly different gear. You're more relaxed and laid back about things, but maybe not a bad thing. Jenny, Jody, and Sharon, can I thank you very much for all that you've done for Matthew. and it gives us a great pleasure to welcome Hayley into the Charters family. And we'll give you all the help and support we can in the years to come. Now, ladies and gentlemen, could you please raise your glasses and drink a toast to Matthew and Hayley with a long and happy life together. Matthew and Hayley.
Thank you very much, Colin. Give him a round of applause. Now, these next two, I'm a bit worried about. Don't let their good looks and their innocent smiles fool you. They're troublemakers.
Oh, sure.
Please welcome Gemma and Amanda. Gemma and Amanda.
I mean,
I think we can all agree, the stunning bridesmaids.
we can stand here. Sure. Hello, for those who have not met us, my name is Gemma Anderson.
And I'm Amanda Carter.
So 6 years ago, this incredible woman came into my life. She moved into the unit I was renting, christened it the Penthouse. It previously didn't have a name, but Hayley is very good at naming things. And she quickly became one of the most important people into my life. Hayley has this incredible way of connecting with people and keeping them in her life, no matter the time or distance between them. There are many people here tonight from different chapters in Hayley's life, and I was lucky to meet Hayley just as her Melbourne chapter began. This was a time of working long hours at demanding agency jobs, nights out at the Barclay Hotel, debrief brunches in the morning, and collecting various hilarious stories of Lanyard Boy and Jesus, to name a few, as we've already recounted this morning. Hayley is someone who knows her own mind. The moment she met Matt, she knew. I'll never forget when Hayley went MIA for 4 days, and as a housemate you do tend to notice those things, only to reappear proclaiming that she'd met her future husband, which I think's been a common theme in a lot of people's narratives because she told a lot of people because she knew. And even though we teased her a lot at the time, so like, yep, sure, Hales, great, right? She would just smile because she knew. And it turns out, well, she was right. This, of course, completely ruined the Euro adventure we'd booked, where instead of wooing European princes as we'd planned, she spent most of Oktoberfest drunkenly telling people how she'd met her perfect Irish man. The more you have to fight for something in life, the more you value it, and Matt and Hayley have fought for each other. A lot has been thrown at these two, and the first challenge, of course, being the FIFO life, and it suddenly became the new norm for Hayley to bolt from brunches, bars or parties to answer a call from Matt. And when Matt was home, she made it a mission to make him part of our social lives, planning adventures and jam-packed itineraries to make sure that Matthew became just as important to our lives as he was to hers. There was a particular incident that I'll never forget where she just essentially encouraged us all to buy a group Groupon, which turned out to be a lovely kayak trip along the Yarra Valley in the middle of winter. Hayley's very good at recruiting people into things they should know better than to join. And so when Matt finally found work in Melbourne, not only was Hayley ecstatic, but there was a big group of people cheering alongside with her. It's been a privilege to watch these two lovebirds get to know each other, fall in love, and plan their lives together. It's rare to see two people who complement each other so much. I wish you both all the happiness in the world. And you're all right as well. Yeah, I can't walk away.
You have to stay right.
You don't get any kisses then.
The only thing I want to add to that is that it's an absolute honour to be a part of both of your lives, and I thought about wishing you the best for the future, but I'm going to be there every step of the way. I'm one stray cannot get rid of. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Gemma and Amanda.
Yep. Oh, am I next?
Guys, now it's time for a handsome lad. A good kid. He's probably got some nice words, maybe a bit of poetry. If you haven't met him yet, this is Dean, one of our groomsmen.
Surprised me as well, Gemma and Amanda. That's not amazing. And Haley, I'm not sure what you've done to deserve this, but you're in for an absolute treat. I'm going to have a bit of a theme to this speech tonight, and it'll be something along the lines of when we first met. So Matthew and I first met when we were probably about 6 years old at Cub Scouts back home. And Gillian and Colin, you probably already know this, but Matthew had a bit of a devilish side when he was younger. And as Matthew kindly reminded me at my wedding a few months ago, the highlight of our time at Cub Scouts was when Matthew decided to go to the toilet on my leg. So we didn't see a whole pile of each other for probably about 4 or 5 years then, and we met again at high school, where I endured 7 long years of torture with the guy who would probably become my best friend. Throughout school, there was rarely a dull moment when he was around. Colin and Jill, I'm sure you probably don't look back with fondness as we do for this period in our lives. And I don't know how you dealt with that, but there was a lot of good reports that came home, I'm sure. But I'm sure you're looking back proudly at the blue-eyed boy now, and your pretty much perfect daughter-in-law that he's somehow managed to gather together. So there was some pretty standout moments from school, and it was very, very difficult to sift through most of them. But some ones that stand out were a 48-hour bus journey from 5 Mile Town to Paris. That if anyone has sat beside Matthew on a bus for any length of time, let alone 48 hours, you'll know that it's going to be the most annoying journey of your entire life. Even the teachers didn't have the chance to get away from his antics. And we had a teacher that he kindly called Sick Chick. She fell asleep in front of us at the back of the bus because she moved there to keep an eye on Matthew. And she fell asleep. More fool her. Matthew found a packet or a tube of shower gel in his bag, and he put it on her top lip so she would lick it when she woke up. But you can imagine the mood for the rest of the journey. It wasn't too great. Back in school, we had a religion teacher which he called Fanny. And he thought it would be a great idea to set her radiator on fire, and a few hours later he filled her glasses case with Coca-Cola. But when questioned about it, he claimed he didn't mean to, which was often his defence for doing very silly things. When we went on to university, Matthew decided that his flat was too far away from the action, and he decided to live on my floor for about 8 months, but that was probably because he used to drink the bus fare home most of the time. Despite all this, Matthew didn't let this get in the way of having a good time. He was always a bit of an entrepreneur when it came to dealing with money in times of need. And instead of drinking things like Foster's and premium beers like that, he often opted for pints from the drip tray. or instead he would opt to do dares, such as one particular one where he drank a half bottle of Powers from a beer funnel in one go, after giving blood on the same day, and lost the power of his legs. The party lifestyle in Belfast often came at a cost, and Matthew was faced with tough decisions such as, would you like to get a kebab tonight, or should I get the safe option and get a taxi home? But Matthew, being the budding entrepreneur that he was, he didn't let this get in the way of him having fun, so he decided, screw it, I'm going to get kebab and a taxi home. And one particular night, Matthew decided, after getting kebab, to flag down a black taxi for him and a friend, but neither of them had any money to pay for it. So he decided to pull in and jump out the passenger side and take off like Usain Bolt running down the road, so the driver would have to pull in and close the passenger side before he could intercept him, by which time he was already hidden in a hedge long way. But anyway, that's probably enough about Matthew and me. It's not our day today, so as I previously said, Matthew always comes out smelling of roses, and he always favours the route of least resistance in doing everything, and that seems to be something that's transferred into how he met Hayley somehow. I believe it was with Mark Boyles, who was here tonight, that in Perseverance that he first met Hayley. And Hayley loves having an intelligent conversation and like a good debate on any subject, but Matthew wasn't fit to do that night. I believe his chat-up line was shut up and kiss me. Despite the quest for an easy life, Matthew bends over backwards for his friends and family. He quit his job to grow a beard and renovate his new home, but most importantly, he came to our wedding about 7 months ago. We really appreciate that. And although unemployed at the time, Matthew pulled out all the stops for the best stag weekend that anyone could have asked for in Lisbon. And it was particularly memorable because the fools in Etihad overserved him by the time he'd actually got to Dublin, and he got a little overexcited. So we'll probably go no further on that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make Matt's Bucks weekend, but I've heard, Brian, you done a stellar job with a 6'2" Pamela Anderson lookalike in Byron Bay. And in truth, I'm pretty glad I couldn't be there because I'm still scarred from mine. And when Matthew moved to Australia and started working in the mines, the isolation awful got the better of him, and this is how he met Hayley, after spending about 10 days at a time in Perseverance, I believe. So after dating a while, Matthew felt it was time to introduce his future wife to Jill and Colin, who had no doubt heard more than enough about Hayley at that point. This was also when I first met Hayley. My first impressions were, really nice girl, she's very posh, but I wasn't sure how that was going to work because Matthew's not very posh. So no holiday back home would have been complete without a few drinks, and we decided to set off for Belfast one night midweek. And we thought it would have been civilised and quiet, but as the night progressed it was neither quiet nor civilised. Hayley decided to tell us that she couldn't get drunk. So we gave her a double, triple vodka Jaeger bomb. And within seconds of drinking it, Hayley's poshness was gone and she'd gone full bogan. All of Belfast taxi drivers had radioed to their friends that the crazy Aussie was under no circumstances to be picked up that night. And it was a night like this, being Belfast in August, I think it was. And myself and Matthew were left with no other option other than to carry Hayley like a rolled up carpet home that night, whilst she was also trying to eat a kebab. It was at this point that I realised Matthew and Hayley were a match made in heaven. Not only, Hayley, are you up for a massive party, you're really good at keeping Matthew in check. I'm sure this is no task, especially with someone who enjoys nothing more than to sleep for about 20 hours every day. And I believe Matthew had a lot to live up to after his first date with Hayley, so he upped his game for his proposal, and he proposed to Hayley over a bucket of KFC in the park. He sure knows the way to a lady's heart. But living on the other side of the world, we don't get to see Matthew and Hayley as often as we'd like, but I'm glad to hear Brian Tracy has taken on the role of third wheel in their relationship in my absence. Matthew, you leave here today with a beautiful and caring wife, and Hayley, at least you ended up with a nice dress and a bouquet of flowers for your troubles. We all wish you the best for your future as husband and wife, and with Matthew's luck and Hayley's drive and ambition. There you go.
Thank you a lot.
There you go.
Thank you very much, Dean. All right. You guys can stand up. Can you just... I know. It's a wonderful day.
Hi, friends. What am I marrying? I'm not sure about those speeches. Everyone knows I get very defensive in Matthew, so you're perfect, despite what they say. Just want to start on that. And I'm interested about his love of laundry, Colin. I can't believe he deconstructed a washing machine. Should take more of an interest in that. Thank you all for such a wonderful day so far. To our wonderful party up here, you really could have gone a whole lot more 21st step on those speeches, so I really do thank you. Yeah, there's so many more stories I was afraid to come out, so thank you so very much. I, for one, can't believe that I'm officially a wife to a dashing Irishman. It tops a couple of supreme years of adulting in our lives, and for the next 2 days we intend to have a red hot go at feeling 21 again. So yeah, as Sabo said, just look into that fireball at the bar. But before we stoop there, we would really like to take a moment to thank a few key people who have made today everything we could have wanted and so much more. It's been such a special week with our families at the coast for so many reasons. It's just been a total breeze to see two families from opposite sides of the universe come together and just be seamlessly happy and just have a really good time. So it's been just a lovely week. I'd like to start by thanking my mum Jenny, who most of you know as the level-headed and patient matriarch of the 161 Manor. She's provided unwavering support and wisdom for Matthew and I on our journey to become husband and wife. One of my very fondest memories from this year is travelling through Europe together, between vinos and cheese, and not too much of either. We got lost as we visited bridal boutiques, from high-end silks to tacky Chinese ladies and Indian gowns at one point. We saw it all and we had so much fun. She also dutifully gave up 4 days of her life to peruse many wedding venues on a spreadsheet, Colin. From Byron Bay right up to the Sunshine Coast hinterland before we stumbled across this absolute gem at Yandina, which, can I just say, really behaved today. I thought we were going to go absolutely bucketed on, so it was beautiful.
Jenny, I'd also like to personally thank you. You made me feel welcome right from day one. You've offered us support through every step of our journey as a young couple. You're at the centre of a loving and ever-expanding family, and I'm extremely proud to be a part of it now. And thanks for going easy on me that day in the ocean when I did ask that long overdue question. You were entitled to give me a hard time and you didn't. I'd also like to thank my parents, Colin and Gillian, for putting on a cracker of an engagement party, that only some of you got to come to, and for your part in making today come together. It's heartening to see how friendly you, Laura and Alice have become with Hayley and her family, and the fun you have together, even from opposite sides of the world. Mum, Dad, I really owe you most thanks to the great job you did in bringing me through life. And although I've defected a little bit from the blue-eyed boy you might remember more fondly, I'm incredibly appreciative of the morals and love that surrounded me as a child, and still do. A special mention to our grandparents who couldn't make it today, Hayley's Granny Lamrock and my Granny and Granda Morrow in Ireland, who are most definitely here in spirit. The legacy of Hayley's father Mark, Grandpa and Grandma Price, Pa Lamrock, Granny and Granda Charters, and my late great Granny Morrow, who was actually born today, it's treasured in memory. for those that travelled so far to be here, which is pretty much everyone, excluding our Sunny Coast friends, thank you.
3 of you, 4 of you.
Especially for those that came from the Emerald Isle. I hope it's been a good excuse for a holiday and a party.
I'd also like to share my immense gratitude to Colin and Gillian, who welcomed me into their family with open arms. I often say how proud I am to have gained such a noble and loving father in Colin, a generous, wonderful woman, an extra mum in Jill, and 2 younger sisters. Somewhere I've nestled events, party animals at the back there, excellent. Alice and Laura, who I absolutely adore. It's strange being the older sister for once, but I'm quite enjoying it. Having cups of tea with you all by the fire in Ireland is one of life's greatest tonics and something I truly treasure. Next, my 2 besties. You, Amanda and Gemma. You planned an absolute killer hens party and rounded up some of the best women from across the country. There was some absolute debauchery and class, and even made sure I didn't make the infamous news.com.au gallery at the races, which is very much appreciated. It was a ridiculously fun entree into married life, and I'll be forever grateful. Thanks also to my big sister Jodie, who's over there with baby Matilda, being a new mum, who put a very talented hand to the graphic design for today's wedding. So appreciative of the love and care that you invested into making everything look a million bucks, even on the cusp of first-time motherhood. And Sharon too, for your very gentle and loving role in making this week just a breeze and super easy in the way that you always do. To our new and not so new nephews and niece in the room, Matilda, Arlo and Jack, thank you for bringing the cuteness today as our honorary flower girl and paid toys. My heart has already burst quite a few times this week, and I'm sure you all agree they're fairly perfect. And on a personal note, I think many of you would have seen this in the ceremony today, I'd also like to thank personally our photographer Adrian, who's still at work. Thanks Adrian. And his beautiful husband and celebrant Jason, who travelled up from Melbourne to be with us today. For those of you that don't know, these 2 special men have been at the forefront of the marriage equality campaign in Australia for over 18 years. They're inspiring advocates for human rights on so many levels that many of you don't even see. Jason travels the country speaking with people one-on-one and investing time to change the world, and that just means so much. After officiating more than 1,000 wedding ceremonies, today Jason got to say a brand new monitor just for us, a union between 2 people, and also have their marriage legally recognised in Australia the way it should be. Just yesterday, these 2 incredible men were shoulder to shoulder with our nation's politicians on Capitol Hill, gently changing the world, and today they're here with us, celebrating love, for which we are ever so grateful.
David Hancock, our very close friend. We couldn't have wished for a more talented guy today to sing my wife down the aisle. Thank you to all the effort you went to. I know it's been a hard few weeks for you. For all the single ladies who fell in love with David today, sorry, his stunning wife Jo is here and is currently pregnant with baby number 2. We seem to have lost a page.
Just speak monkey sense.
Yeah.
No, they were organised.
Neil Stano, our MC tonight. You're one in a million. Not like any other friend we have. I want to say thanks for taking on this duty tonight. You've killed it, but to be honest, that was probably to be expected. Who doesn't not love you?
You.
Dean and Brian, do I thank you or not? 2 men that have brought the very best and worst out of me. Dean, to be honest, I really do need to thank you for always being the man of adventure. Following you through our late teens and into our early 20s, my eyes were open to the wonders of travel, which is of course how I met my better half. You are the yes man. And although there are many regrets in saying yes to you over the past 10-odd years, I'm truly grateful to have you as such a solid and reliable friend. Thanks. Brian, you're the gentleman and the charmer. I don't think we knew what to make of each other early days in Brisbane, but it wasn't long before we were singing off the same hymn sheet. Honestly, life in Melbourne wouldn't be the same without you, and I hope we get to spend many more days in Melbourne together. I'm not forgetting about Hank. This is Brian's rogue alter ego. Someone I hope you all get to meet someday, if not today. Thanks for putting together an unforgettable Bucks party. Unforgettable emotionally and physically. Despite being plucked like a chicken, it was a spanking good time for all.
Now, contrary to popular opinion, I'd like to give a few kind words to my brand new husband, Matthew. People often talk about what it feels like to fall in love, and before meeting you, I thought they were making it all up. I knew shortly after you shushed me, on the first night we met, that you were unique. Ironic really that I fell so hard and the first man to ever tell me to shut up with such conviction. After partying for 2 nights straight, your wish came true. I completely and absolutely lost my voice. As a youngster in agency life, paid mostly for talking, was really quite debilitating, so of course I had no choice but to skip work for 2 days and spend it with you. Our first proper date was in absolute silence, with me passing messages across the table, while some hairy guy called Jimmy on Lygon Street serenaded us, and it was still the best day of my life. After I'd known you for all of a day and a half, I called my mum and talked her ear off about how I'd met the man I was going to marry. Gemma frankly reminded me that he was a ranger and that I should probably take heed of that, but anyway, yeah, slow down. Have you seen it? Have you really seen it? No, really, have you seen it? Anyway. She's blunt. Mum listened intently, as Mum always does, thank you, Mummy. And she said something along the lines of, well, that's nice, honey. I'm at work at the moment, I have to go save some lives. Clearly a profound moment for her and everyone else that I insisted on telling at the time. Nonchalance aside, it wasn't long after that I had an opportunity to bring Matthew home to meet the family, and he got the coveted tip from my big sisters, who were pretty protective, and Mum. That signature Irish charm, which Gillian tells me has got Matthew into and out of many situations in life, won them over all in record time. And you keep winning me over too, every single day. Thank you for making me laugh and reminding me not to take myself too seriously. Thank you for tolerating my newsreader phone voice, intermittent adulting, endless stories, and the fact that I'm thinking 5 years ahead when you're thinking about lunch. I'm a hurricane that only you can handle. You're the kind of man that the world needs a whole lot more of, and I'm so blessed to have you.
It really is hard to fathom that all of this started with me asking you to take a photo. One night where I'd set out strictly to avoid females. Sorry, Mark Boyles, that didn't end up of much of a lad's night. Disappearing for 2 whole days with this beautiful stranger. I knew I was onto something special. It's matched me in every way, and I think we started to fall pretty fast. Months of long distance phone calls and flights passed. And although I rarely saw you, we built this exciting friendship. It kept us both on the edge of our seats for pretty much the best part of a year. Finally, the days working away from home came to an end, and the first proper era of our relationship began. A time when I had the pleasure of meeting so many of your friends who I now call my own. Our relationship continues to evolve, constantly surpassing my expectation of love, strengthening our bond as partners. Next week we'll be road tripping partners, soaking up the beauty of the South Island of New Zealand on our honeymoon. I really can't wait. I'm really proud of us. I'm proud that we've seen so much of the world. I'm proud that we've finally almost finished our dream home. I'm humbled too by the number of absolute legends that have joined us to celebrate our marriage today. We've built a wonderful life and I'm so happy to live. And the best part awaits us. There's no one else I'd rather have by my side for it. So on that note, please I'd like to make a toast to my new amazing wife. Raise your glasses. For Hayley Price. Hey! There you go.
Mr. and Mrs. Chavez. Guys, fantastic. That's some beautiful words. Cake's being served up the top. Run to the toilet, do what you gotta do. Let's get back. Let's get some drinks into us. Thanks, guys.